Hey yo, welcome to our channel today. I've been married to my wife, Sarah, for 3 wonderful years. She's not only my partner in life, but also my best friend. Her caring nature and genuine kindness have endeared her to everyone who meets her. One sunny morning, as we sat at the breakfast table sipping our coffee, Sarah looked at me with a mischievous smile. "You know, our anniversary is coming up next week," she said. I chuckled, pretending to forget. "Oh, is it? Time really does fly, doesn't it?" She playfully nudged my shoulder. "Don't think you can get away with that attitude. I've got something special planned, and you're going to love it." I raised an eyebrow, and she leaned in closer, her eyes sparkling. "It's a surprise, but I can promise you it involves a weekend getaway and your favorite chocolate cake." I grinned, unable to hide my excitement. "You're amazing, you know that," I said. Sarah laughed, her melodious voice filling the room. "I try my best." As the days passed, I couldn't help but feel increasingly curious about her surprise. We exchanged playful banter, with Sarah dropping hints that only added to my anticipation. Finally, the day arrived. She blindfolded me, leading me carefully to the car. The engine roared to life, and we embarked on a journey filled with laughter, music, and the promise of something incredible. After what felt like a scenic drive, the car eventually came to a halt. "Okay, you can take off the blindfold now," she said. I removed the blindfold, my eyes widening at the breathtaking view of a cozy cabin nestled by a tranquil lake. The sun was setting, casting a warm golden hue over everything. "This is amazing, Sarah," I beamed, squeezing her hand. "I thought you might like it, a weekend to ourselves, away from the hustle and bustle." We spent the weekend walking hand in hand along the lake's edge, sharing stories, dreams, and quiet moments. On the evening of our anniversary, we sat on the porch watching the stars twinkle above. Sarah handed me a plate, and there it was, my favorite chocolate cake. "Happy anniversary," she said softly. "Thank you for making this so special," I replied, cutting a slice of cake and savoring its rich flavor. "I love you," she said, her eyes locked onto mine. "I love you too, more than words can express." As we sat there under the vast sky, I realized how fortunate I was to have Sarah as my partner. Her warmth, compassion, and thoughtfulness had filled my life with immeasurable joy. And as the stars continued to shine, I knew that our love story was one that would forever be written with happiness, laughter, and cherished moments. Many friends in common, about 4 years ago, one of these friends, John, announced that he was moving abroad to work in Italy. Strangely, my wife Sarah was deeply affected by this news. It surprised me because I wasn't aware that they were particularly close. I remember the day John told everyone about his plans. We were all gathered at a small cafe, sipping our coffees. John had a bittersweet smile as he shared his exciting opportunity. I glanced at Sarah, expecting her to react like the rest of us, surprised but supportive. However, her face turned pale, and her eyes seemed to well up with tears after John finished talking. Sarah quickly excused herself and went to the restroom. Used by her reaction, I decided to join her after a while. I found her in front of the mirror, her eyes red from crying. "Sarah, are you okay?" I asked, genuinely concerned. She wiped her tears away and forced a smile. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just that John's leaving is hitting me harder than I thought." I raised an eyebrow, not fully convinced. "But why? I mean, I know he's a good friend, but you seem really affected by this." She hesitated for a moment, then looked down at the sink. "Complicated, and I'd rather not talk about it right now." I respected her wish, thinking that maybe she just needed some time to process her emotions. Over the next few days, I noticed her mood swing between moments of apparent sadness and attempts to act normal. It was as if she was grappling with something beneath the surface. A few weeks later, after the initial shock had faded, I broached the topic again. We were sitting on our couch, watching a movie. "Hey, Sarah, I've been thinking, why were you so affected by John's announcement? You've been friends, sure, but I didn't realize you were that close." She shifted uncomfortably in her seat, avoiding eye contact. "It's really not something I want to get into. Can we just drop it, please?" I could sense her unease, and I didn't want to push her too hard, so I dropped the subject, assuming that she'd open up when she was ready. But years went by, and the conversation never resurfaced. It was always in the back of my mind, though that peculiar reaction she had when John announced his departure. I loved Sarah, and I trusted her completely, but there was a nagging doubt that I couldn't shake off. It wasn't until recently, when I was backing up her phone for her, that I stumbled upon those suspicious text messages. My heart raced as I read through the intimate exchanges between Sarah and John. My hands trembled, and I felt a mix of anger, betrayal, and sadness all at once. I confronted her about it, showing her the messages. Her face turned white as a sheet, and she finally broke down. "I can't deny it anymore," she confessed through tears. "I had an affair with John during those years he was abroad. I'm so sorry." The revelation hit me like a ton of bricks. The truth I had suspected for years was now laid bare before me. The person I trusted the most had betrayed me in the worst possible way. After Sarah's tearful confession, there was a heavy silence in the room. I couldn't find the words to respond, so I just stared at her, a mix of anger, hurt, and disbelief contorting my expression. "I never meant for any of this to happen," Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. "I was scared," she admitted, tears streaming down her face. "I was afraid of losing you, of facing the consequences of my actions. I was foolish, and I kept telling myself that I could fix things and that it would all go away." I shook my head in disbelief, struggling to comprehend the extent of her deception. "And all this time, you let me believe that everything was okay between us." "I know I was wrong," Sarah said, her voice cracking. "But please understand that I love you. I never stopped loving you." The pain in her eyes was evident, but it was overshadowed by the pain I felt in my own heart. The image of her with another man, sharing intimate moments that should have been reserved for us, was too much to bear. I took a deep breath, trying to collect my thoughts. "Tell me everything," I said, my voice surprisingly steady despite the turmoil inside me. She recounted the details of the affair, the secret meetings, the lies, the stolen moments. She admitted that she had fallen into a pattern of deceit, where the excitement of the forbidden had clouded her judgment. She told me about the photos from the bachelorette party, where she had hugged John's girlfriend, playing the part of a friend while carrying this dark secret. As she spoke, a mix of anger, sadness, and confusion swirled within me. I wanted to shout, to demand answers, to understand how someone I thought I knew so well could have hidden such a significant part of her life from me. "Why are you telling me now?" I finally asked, my voice heavy with emotion. She wiped away her tears and looked at me with a mixture of remorse and desperation. "Because I can't live with this lie anymore. I want to be honest with you, even if it means losing you. You deserve the truth." I sat there in silence, absorbing her words. The truth was out, and there was no going back. The life we had built together, the trust that had once been unshakable, now felt like a fragile illusion. As I looked at her, a million thoughts raced through my mind. Could I forgive her? Could we rebuild what was broken? The road ahead seemed impossibly daunting, but one thing was clear: the foundation of our relationship had been irrevocably altered, and the path forward was uncertain at best. Regrettably, I married her before discovering the truth, as she had been pressuring me to marry her throughout this affair. Learning about all of this has left me devastated. Despite the fact that it all happened so long ago, I find it incredibly hard to believe the extent, duration, and audacity of both their actions. As the weight of her confession settled in, I felt a mix of emotions swirling within me. The love I once felt for Sarah was now intermingled with anger, betrayal, and a profound sense of hurt. The life we had built together felt like a lie, and I struggled to reconcile the woman sitting before me with the person I thought I knew. "Why did you pressure me to marry you if this was happening?" My voice was strained, barely concealing the pain in my words. Sarah's eyes were red and swollen from crying, and she looked at me with a mixture of shame and remorse. "I was confused, lost," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "I thought that if I locked us into marriage, I could somehow bury the guilt and make things right. I know it was a terrible mistake." My hands clenched into fists at my sides as I tried to process her words. The realization that our marriage had been founded on a lie, on her desperation to cover up her infidelity, made me feel sick to my stomach. "And what about John?" I asked, my voice shaking with anger. "Did he feel any remorse while he was carrying on with you and planning a life with his girlfriend?" Sarah's tears fell more heavily now, and she wiped them away with trembling hands. "He told me he had feelings for me too, but he was just as lost as I was. He regretted it," he said. I scoffed at her words, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. "Regretted it? But he kept going, even got married to his girlfriend while still seeing you." She nodded, her face contorted with guilt. "Yes, and that's something I can never forgive myself for. I allowed this to continue even though I knew it was wrong." A heavy silence hung between us, the weight of the truth echoing in the air. I stood up, needing to distance myself from her, from the pain that was threatening to consume me. "I need time," I said, my voice cracking. "I need time to think, to process all of this. Sarah reached out a hand toward me, but I stepped back out of her reach. Please just give me a chance to make things right, to show you how deeply sorry I am. I looked at her, my heart torn between the love I had once felt and the betrayal that now colored every memory. I don't know if that's possible, I replied, my voice heavy with sadness. Right now, I don't even know if I can look at you without feeling this overwhelming sense of pain. Tears streamed down her face, and she nodded, her shoulders trembling. I understand. I'll give you the space you need. As I walked away, leaving her sitting there, I felt a mixture of emotions coursing through me: anger, hurt, confusion, and a profound sense of loss. The future I had envisioned had been shattered, and the path ahead was uncertain. All I knew was that the love and trust we had once shared would never be the same again. Thank you so much for joining us on this emotional journey. Your time and attention mean the world to us. If you found this story intriguing, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more captivating tales. Your support fuels our creativity, and we can't wait to have you with us in the next chapter. Thanks again for being a part of our community. Until next time, take care and stay tuned.